Okay, we're on.
Hi, Kellie Cottam, Director of Step Up Britain, founder of Forced Adoption Exposed. We're down here outside Parliament to protect the children. Now currently in the UK, a child is being taken every 20 minutes by county council. Parents are being thrown into a 26-week court process and children are coming out on long-term foster care or up for forced adoption. Now, we know it's going on, it's been hidden for years, and we know that there is a paedophile children off the streets. They are taking them from the care companies, they're taking them from children's homes in order to abuse them. Now, we have been trying, many people have been trying for years to expose what's going on so we can have justice. Now, over the last year, I've been campaigning, and I started campaigning because it was two of my own children who were taken unlawfully by Flintshire Social Services, by police committing perjury, the social workers lied, and my children were placed for forced adoption. I have an 18 and a 15-year-old, and I'm a great mum. In 2010, I was in the media, and it was global media, as a single mum with a disability trapped in the benefits system, launching Step Up Britain to empower and enable people to leave the government benefits system. Now, they removed my two children because I was currently living at Save the Family, and I was noticing the amount of children who were being taken and parents were on a hiding to nowhere. I was noticing that there was a corrupt paedophile circle within this organisation. Next thing I know, that my own two children were removed. They committed perjury to take them. I can prove it. You can go over onto my YouTube channels, you can go over onto my Facebook, Kellie Cottam, you can go onto the website, Forced Adoption Exposed, where I say what's going on. Now, we've had to move this to the streets. The media has announced that obviously they are aware that there is a paedophile circle within this government. Then they actually put somebody in to inspect it, who actually, his brother was involved in this paedophile circle. Dossiers were announced and lost. Now, we have to say no. We have to, as a public, call a public inquiry. They are talking about historical abuse. Now, we are talking about current abuse. Now, we have the proof. There are people willing to speak out. And what happens is, any person where there is an injustice against them, they are gagged. I am gagged. I am not allowed to talk about the removal of my children. I am not allowed to name Aaron and Faith, who were unlawfully kidnapped by Flintshire Social Services. They were detained by PC Lewis, who committed perjury in order to remove them. The social worker Cheryl Osborne lied, and a social worker, Carrie Levan, has committed perjury on a consistent basis in order to detain my children. All I want is for justice. I want to be able to get into the courts, but we are locked out. There is no legal aid to support children, parents into the system. Parents are left on their own to learn the laws, and by the time we get getting there, our children are already up for adoption. That means our children are gone for the rest of their lives. Children are being cuffed by police officers in order to remove them. Children are running away from foster parents who are abusing them. There are some great social workers, some great police officers, and some great teachers, and there are some great MPs out there, and we need them to rise. We need them to say that there is a zero tolerance to child abuse. Children have a future, and children need to be protected. I am a mum. I'm Kellie Cottam. I'm the mother of Liam, Daniel, Aaron and Faith. I cannot get into the court system at the moment because there is a process and a protocol. Now, the thing is though, in order to get justice, once you even do get into the court remits, they are refusing permission for appeals, they are refusing permission for judicial reviews. The HCPC is not actually taking any findings about perjury, even when it's provable. The ICPC is doing nothing about it. The ombudsmen are doing nothing about it. There is so many different protocols to complain, but if you complain against social services, they take your contact off you with your children. You are seen as a nuisance. You are seen as failing to work with the system. But they are lying. Now, the thing that we have to ask ourselves is, there is 100,000 children in the foster care industry. Why is there not 200,000 parents in prison? If a child is removed, that means significant harm is caused to a child, which basically means a crime has been committed. These people should then be in the criminal courts, committed of a crime, and then obviously long-term future of their children. But these people are being done for possible future emotional harm. Now, they are abusing single mums. They are abusing people with disabilities in order to remove their children. And yes, this is about budget. So we can bring it down to basic budget. We are all for personal responsibility, but we need accountability. When a social worker gets something wrong, they should be able to put their hands up and say, I made a mistake. But when you go into the court remit and they've got a court order in front of them, if they admit that they were wrong, they are liable, therefore they are suable, and they are protecting their own arses. But we've got to protect the arses of children, because people are subjecting children to sodomy, to paedophilia. They are abusing children. And yes, there is a satanic rituals going on within the government. If you believe in God, you've got to believe in the devil. If you don't believe in anything, then at least understand that there are people out there who do. In order to worship the people that they worship, they are carrying out satanic rituals within our own government. Under Alexander Palace, we are aware it's going on. We have people, even though they are gagged, are willing to speak out. Now, I've been sexually abused. That my past does not equal my future. Well, I'm not a victim, I am a victor. I overcome any adversary that happens to me. But when you go into a court process, your past files are used against you in order to remove your children. We have women going to the police who have been raped, who by the time they come out of that process, their children are up for adoption. These people need to be supported. Now, I'm director of Step Up Britain because I believe in enabling and empowering the people. I do not believe in control and dictatorship and rules and regulations. We are individuals, and every person who goes through the system, whether it be the education system, the NHS or anything, should be treated as an individual with their own personal sense of planning, family-centred planning. If a mother goes to Super Nanny and asks for help, they come through the other side. Parents even go on to Jeremy Kyle and they are given the counselling and support to come out the other side. But when parents turn to social services for help, their children are then being unlawfully removed and detained and removed from their lives forever. Parents are being institutionalised in the way that the contact works. Children don't get contact for Christmases, they don't get contact for birthdays. Now, this isn't about us. I can take whatever happens to me, but my children have to live with this. When my children were taken, my son hid under the table. They said he must have been so abused. No, he was reacting to being removed. The last time I saw my daughter, she cried and begged me to just take her. They stopped my contact, saying this was abuse. My daughter and my son were put with the first foster parents who were abusing their my children. I got a court order to have them removed. They were removed and put with some very loving foster carers. My children thought they were great, and the judge had said that I was to meet them. Social services didn't uphold this. Now, if I file a complaint against them, I then lose my contact. Parents are scared. There's parents out there who don't turn to social services because they know what's going on, who need help. There are parents out there who turn to social services and are losing their children. People with medical conditions are being called child abusers, and then once the child is removed, parents like myself are then classed as child abusers. I'm not a child abuser, I'm a loving mum. So we have to take this to the streets. We have to try to get this into court. Now, nobody sees that what is going on is a crime, and it is a crime, and we need legal prosecutors and police to stand by us to take these social workers who are deliberately, and when I say deliberately, because they are part of the paedophile circle. My children were taken by Flintshire. Yesterday, 2 days ago, 8 officials within social services were arrested. These are the same people who have my children. I was always telling the truth. There was a paedophile circle in Flintshire and they removed my children to shut me up. I will never shut up. I will never go away, and until my children are returned to me and until other people's cases are being inspected by independent, and I mean independent, investigators, they spend the time with the parents, they see the fact finders that are wrong. All courts are meant to have fact finders. These fact finders aren't happening. Any information that is wrong should be removed, but it's staying. I've got 22 years of wrongful diagnosis. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I reported sexual abuse as a child where I was labelled a liar and attention seeker. A social worker, when I came to social services on a Friday, put me out on the streets and wrote in her report, "Kellie is attractive in a street corner kind of way, do not believe their lies." Now luckily a friend picked me up off the street, but they were actually setting me up in order to be picked up by these paedophile circles. Now 72% of children from the childcare system result in mental health. Therefore, these children then become adults and then later having their children removed because their paperwork says that they have mental health. Even if a person has mental health, they have a right to help. Even if they have children, they have a right to help. Now we need to break the cycle. We must break the cycle, because all we're doing now is creating more children that are going to end up with mental health, more children who are being abused. Children in foster care, children in into care homes are being abused. It's not just happening to children, this is happening to adults too. This is happening the other side with older generations who are having their funds taken away from them, and they are being removed from their houses and put into care homes where they are being abused. We seriously need to have a zero tolerance for child abuse. If a person has committed child abuse, they should be in a criminal court and they should be charged with a criminal offence. And then even if children are taken, there are other family members who can take them, but grandparents have no rights. Grandparents need to be held to have rights to stand up for their children and stand up for their grandparents. Now, until we get this, we're not going away. We will be outside. We're currently outside Parliament. Tomorrow we're going to be outside Downing Street, and we're going to be here with Scott. It's the stolen children of the UK. A child is being taken every 20 minutes. ITV on Thursday exposed what was going on. They know. This is not propaganda. This is our lives. This is our children's lives. And our children are screaming to be heard. On the 25th of this month, it's July, there will be a conference called Children Screaming to be Heard, because children are running away from the care system, bleeding, covered in blood after being raped, and there is nowhere to go, because otherwise they're just put back into the paedophile circles. Now, we don't like to talk about the problem. We don't want to fuel the problem. But if people do not accept that this is going on, then we cannot move to a solution. So the people need to rise and say no more. We must protect children. We must protect adults and vulnerable adults. Like I said, if you go to Super Nanny, you come out the other side helped. You go to social services, your lives are destroyed for the rest of your life. These children are removed from us. The worst ever emotional abuse to a child is to not feel loved by its mum and dad. That's worse than sexual abuse. To be rejected by a mum and dad is worse than sexual abuse, worse than violence. So the only way that we can change this is to break the circle. So I am asking and calling the public to sign petitions. Go to forcedadoptionexposed.com, connect with me, watch the videos. What we are telling is the truth. Now, people can say this is not happening to me. A child is being taken every 20 minutes. On the 2004, Tony Blair set targets of 1,000 removal for adoption a month. 72 children a day. That's 24,000 by the end of the year. Where do you want to be by 2015? By 2015, I want a new government. I want a government that enables and empowers the people of Britain, that remember that they work for the people. These people in here, they work for us. They are paid to support their constitution, but they are not. They are following procedures, rules and regulations that are basically set up to fail the people. Yes, the one world order exists. Yes, there is an elite thing that is trying to control the people, and we must rise and say no. As individuals, we are entitled to do what we love. We are here under the 10 Commandments. We respect and support each other, love thy neighbours, but we are being broken down as a society. Families are being stripped, communities are being broken down, and we must come together. We must come together to unite. We must look after our fellow neighbour. The older lady next door, go shopping for her, do something for her, help the single mum who might need help. But when child abuse occurs, we must say no. Now, at the end of the day, we can't wait until children are abused, but since baby P, this system has been out of control. Parents are thrown into a 26-week process, they're on a hiding to nowhere, and we have to now call a public inquiry. We have to link the paedophile circle going on here Where do you think they get the kids from? They can't go to their next door neighbour. They're taking them from foster care, but they are removing them from loving parents. They don't want damaged children to abuse. They need innocent children. So they have to go over, and if you have a look, I have 2 blonde, blue-eyed children. They are perfect for sacrifice. That's what they're basically looking for. They're perfect for adoption. The question is, are children in foster care needing to be adopted, or are adopters needing children? Are we feeding the supply and demand of adopters, or are we actually protecting children to find them homes? There is currently a national adoption drive. We must halt this. There is so many innocent families caught up in this system, so we must stop the adoption drive. There is only currently 6,000 children on adoption orders. That is very easy to inspect. We can inspect that and then look back historically. They are currently looking into historical child abuse. This is going on now, right now. I've got 6-year-old children with knives under their beds because they are scared of the people who are coming in to abuse them. I've got teenagers running away from foster care. Once they're in foster care, they are isolated. They are removed from their families, removed from their communities, shut down on their mobile phones, taken off of Facebook so they can't find their families. And children who are running back to their families are then being cuffed and taken back to the people who are abusing them. I urge all of the good people out there to please, please, please come together and say no. It is currently the school holiday period. People are taking time off holiday. By the time we get to September, we need the new government coming in. By the time we get to 2015, we need a government of decent, good people who work for the people. Get the corrupt ones out. I'm so sorry, but there is going to be innocent people probably caught up in this too. There are children that are abused, and there are innocent parents like me caught up in it. If you are unlawfully arrested, please sit. They are gagging parents. I'm gagged. I would go to prison, and I've been in the rural courts, and I told them straight, put me in prison and I will educate every person in there. I will enable them, empower them, and I will help them, and then I will come out and continue to do so. They won't put me in prison because in 2000 media of me coming out of the system. Once the media know they have my children, they know that there will be a media press on this. So if they put me into prison, they know it will come out. So I will continue to do this until my children are returned. On the 24th of July, we are closing down the M25. Now, I'm quite happy to take all of the roads all the way from Cornwall up to Scotland. We will do this piece by piece. At the end of the day, we will do this in small amounts until people start to actually uproar against us. Listen to why we're doing this. Hear what we're saying and support us, because as a mother, there is nothing I can do to protect my children. I'm not the sort of person who would put a gun to a judge's head, but sometimes I really do feel like it. I'm not a vigilante, I'm a mother. I'm a mother who's been through the complaints procedures and has been ignored. I've been to the police, I've been ignored. I've been to the courts, I've been ignored. So now we take this to the streets. So I please, please, please urge you to watch this, go on to Forced Adoption Exposed, watch my videos. I've got a 72-year-old man who's walked the entire UK to find as many people as possible. I'm not legal, I can't advise anybody what to do. All I can help people do is speak out and expose what's going on so we can move from the problem to the solution. So I'm Kellie Cottam, I'm down at Parliament. We need the media to please tell the truth, no propaganda, just speak the truth. We want a public inquiry, we want an inspection, and we want our children home.
Well done. Right, I'm cutting the broadcast here. Can whoever made the Bill Maloney speech please do that to this and get it circulated everywhere, so it's circulated to all the news media. It is absolutely shameful that they're not down here today. So I'm finishing this one now. I'll be back again shortly, but please spread this. Get the mainstream media to report on this absolutely amazing speech. We have to draw a line under this. We have to say no more. Right, that's all for me just now.